Hey horror fans, once again it's the Horror Mizamani G, and this time we're going to talk about the final episode of last night's The Strain. So this is it. This is the final battle between our heroes and the Strigoi and the Master, and we pick up the episode right where we left off last week's episode, with our heroes surrounded by a whole bunch of Strigoi. Obviously, this is not good news because they got to get the nuke out of there. It's the only way they're going to defeat the Master. So, Ep, Fett, Dutch, and Quinlan, they go on ahead and take the nuke out, while Gus, Roman, Marcus, and the rest of his boys decide to hold off. So we know those unnamed guys, they're going to get picked off, and one gets picked up by Strigoi. He decides to do a kamikaze suicide bomb and blows up some Strigoi. Finally, Marcus, Gus, and Roland, they decide to back out of there and head up and get out of the way while they escape the rest of the Strigoi. While our heroes decide to go to an underground water treatment that was built some time ago, the Master is not too pleased with Zach, the brat. I mean Zach. Yeah, well, whatever his name is, you know who he is. He's a brat. And he really chastises him, saying that he should have gotten the place of the nuclear weapon. So he finally decides, let's just end this masquerade of coexistence, and signals all the rest of the Strigoi, and they start attacking the humans, and the whole place in New York is going to shit. And Zach just looks easy and he's like, what have I done? Hey, look, you stupid brat. This is what you did. You caused all this, and just like F said in his last episode, now live with it. So Fett has this great idea when they go to the treatment plant. They decide that they're going to make this last stand by, he gives a history lesson of this water treatment that was built starting by, I think it was 1909. It's supposed to be done by 2020 to give New York all this water, but unfortunately, thanks to the Strigoi, they stopped building it. But this is a nice place to lure the Master. That's their plan that they're going to have. He and Quinlan decide to come up with this insane plan, because Quinlan says, look, if we're going to finally stop these half-ass treatments of the fights against the Master, it's time that we go all out. And going all out means we're going to have to sacrifice ourselves. Quinlan is more than prepared to sacrifice himself, because he expected that he was going to die in his battle with the Master. Fett, on the other end, as he tells Dutch in a very nice and emotional way, I'm tired of fighting. More than likely, I'm tired of losing. At least this way, we win. And Dutch says, yeah, but losing your life is just plain losing. So they really had a nice turn of moment between those two. Since they're 800 feet below the surface, they believe that this would be safe enough to detonate the nuclear device without it harming Manhattan. So they're going to lure the Master there. Quinlan will lure the Master there on the elevator. Fett will go into the other elevator and blow the cables and go down there, since unfortunately without the remote detonator, it has to be detonated manually, meaning that both Quinlan and Fett will die. They'll get vaporized, but the Master will be vaporized as well. And without the Master's central intelligence, the rest of the Strigoi will just be mindless animals for easy pickings. And that's the master plan that they have. Of course, Dutch doesn't like this at all. She says, look, that's not a way to live. We shouldn't sacrifice ourselves that way. And I don't blame her. It's like, but you know, I don't blame her for wanting to have a nice ending. She even tries to tell Ep, you know, hey, look, good weather, try to talk him out of it. I don't want him to die. And so the Master falls for the bait. He and Zach, Ep makes himself be known, and the Master sees him, and he tells Zach, hey, look, there's your father. I told you he doesn't care about you, he only cares about himself. So Zach says, I'm going to get my gun, let's go take him down. The Master falls for the trap. Meanwhile, back at the hotel, we find out, unfortunately, that Marcus is turning, and he says, the one thing I want to do is just die human. So of course Gus blows him away. Gus has a fit because he's tired of losing, and Roman calms him down. They eventually go GTA on the rest of the Strigoi, and they get to the place and have their final stand against the Strigoi. We also get a nice flashback of Striogi. Yes, he is in this final, a flashback from 11 months ago, and he tells Ep that this is just the beginning. He, as Goodweather talks about all the sacrifices, he lost his son, he's lost his job, he lost his marriage. This is mainly what's been happening throughout the entire season. I would say at least by the first 2 seasons when he was wanted by the FBI. He had lost custody of his son in the first season. He lost his job during the second season. He was wanted by the FBI. And Striogi told him and said, look, you think this is it? This is just the beginning. You're going to lose a whole lot more before this war is over. And he's right. Striogi should know. He's been in this war for a long time. So we get back to present day, and we have this huge fight out between the Strigoi and everyone else. The Master falls for the bait. And next thing you know, right when the Master comes out, and he uses some type of a piercing sound with his throat. You see his throat flickering about, but he's attacked by Quinlan. Zach, and the Master are thrown into this cage, which obviously laced with silver, and they blow the whatchamacallit. And F, in a supreme effort of self-sacrifice, he goes into the other elevator instead of Fett and blows the cables out, and now they drop all the way down to the bottom. By the time we get to the bottom, Quinlan and the Master are kicking each other's ass, and even though Quinlan doesn't know he's not going to be able to survive, he does get one last crack. He rips out the Master's throat, and even though he knows that he's wounded, and he's mortally wounded, and he knows he's going to die, he tells the Master one last jest, "I've won." And the Master proceeds to stomp his face off, but unfortunately he's bleeding to death, and it looks like he tells back for a second here. He tells Zach that we're still going to destroy the humans when F wakes up, and he sees his father. He tells Zach to shoot him. Zach gives him a warning shot, and then F goes ahead and arms the bomb. But Zach says, I can't do it. He's still my father. I can't kill him. And perhaps the most smartest thing that this kid's ever done in this series, he actually shoots the Master, but it doesn't bring the Vampire King down. He raises up and is about to do his transformation over. He's about to take Zach over his body, which I believe was his plan to do with him anyway. F, Goodweather, sacrifices himself, and he becomes the new Master's host. While upstairs, we see Dutch and F see that the Strigoi have stopped attacking, meaning that the Master's taken a new host. And F and Zach have this one final goodbye before the Master takes over Goodweather's body. And then perhaps another great moment that Zach had ever done in his life, asks his father if he's still in there. If he is, tell him I love him, and he triggers the bomb off, vaporizing himself and the Master, and saving the world. Way to go, Zach! But you're still a brat. So the Master is dead. Our heroes have won. We get like this 5-year later epilogue where F narrates about how they took out the rest of Strigoi. Roman used his gold to rebuild the city. Dutch and a few other ex-hackers brought back the internet, and now that he's back being a cop and he sees all the rats have returned, meaning that everything is hunky-dory. And I guess that's how the show ends. Now, again, I don't know what happened with this season finale. I was expecting a little bit of a better battle, but this was just as lackluster as the whole entire final season had been lackluster. Even though I really did enjoy the show, I liked the different take on the vampire genre. It did have its ups and downs, especially this final season. We had some good characters with Ike Horse and Striogi. Corey Stroh was okay as a lead, as Goodweather, but I guess you really can't fault him for some of the stuff they made him do. But of course, this show really had the worst child actor in Zach, and I can't know if I blame the actor or not, but they really did not create a good character for him. He was poorly written, poorly developed, and all he did was mope, cry, and pout, and he destroys the world. And even with the self-sacrifice that he made, he was still a poorly written character. Now, I didn't read any of the books that this series is based on. I don't know if this character is really that bad in the books. If anyone read the books, comment below and let me know, because there's simply no way in the world that you can have a character as bad, poorly written than Zach was. And so that's it. That's the final episode of The Strain. Did you like the series? Did you enjoy it? Did you think this was lackluster, or did you think this was a great way for the show to end? Comment below and let me know, because I certainly did not think this could have been a lot better. I've seen a lot of worse series finales. I can't compare this to Orphan Black. Orphan Black had a great season finale. But this was kind of lackluster. Had a few nice, good episodes leading up to this end, but again, like I said, very lackluster season finale. I expected better. So that's my video for today. I want to thank you for watching. If this is your first time here, please like and subscribe so that way you can become part of the horror experience as well. Also, all my social media links will be in the description below as well. Once again, my name is Lamont Smith, better known as the Horror Miser Monty G, and always remember that horror rules.